everyone. Welcome to another episode of Help with Natalie Cuomo. I'm here with our second-time guest, my fiance, comedian Dan LaMorte. How are you?
Yeah, I like how my opening credit was your fiance.
Well, that's what you are.
Second appearance.
You're my fiance before anything else to me. Yeah.
All right.
You want to be a comedian first?
I'll be a comedian first before, because if we were to die in a plane crash, it would say Natalie Cuomo and her fiance. It wouldn't say Dan.
Yes, it would.
No, you're too much more famous.
That's not true at all.
You would get newspaper headline in the crash.
No, I feel like your joke would. I feel like all your plane crash jokes would be in the headlines.
Oh, I do have a shocking amount of plane crash material at the moment.
Yeah.
A lot of comics go airline material. I go air crash.
And it's fantastic.
One of the two. The others need some work.
So I am excited. I want you to come back on my podcast for a while to talk about your 100-mile race you have coming up.
Yeah. Oh, is that why I'm here? Or is it because you waited last minute to get a guest?
No.
No, that's not why. Okay. Yeah, I'm running an 100-mile race. April, what is it, 22nd?
29th.
No, April 29th and 28th are when we're on the road somewhere.
Oh.
We're at Roar and MGM
You're right.
Springfield.
It
April
is the
28th and
22nd.
29th. Yes. One would think I would know when I'm running. You said that yesterday. You had corrected me that it was actually April 29th. And in my head, I was like,
You let
it's
it
not, but
go.
I'll
You
let
let
her
it go.
have it.
Today you were like, no.
Today, I can't let you have it twice. I can't let you be wrong 2 days in a row. That's how someone stays wrong.
So, okay, let's talk about this. This is the most miles you've ever run in a race.
Yes. 100.
Talk to me about the training leading up to this. I mean, this is a crazy thing I can't even imagine. The most I've ever ran was 8 miles, and it was with you. It was one of your recovery days.
It felt like 16. The amount of complaints. You know how to make 8 feel like 16.
That is not what you said.
No, I missed that you run with me. It's been a while.
I'll come back.
Yeah, so basically, my training, I mean, you've seen it firsthand. It's not normal. We do, it's not crazy on a weekend for us to do shows until like 2 in the morning, and then I'll come home with you. We'll watch an hour of TV, and then I'll get changed and drive 2 hours to a trail to run for 4 hours or 5 hours.
So why is it that I know the answer, but why is it that you're training in the middle of the night like this? Like, why wouldn't you just wake up the next day and train like a normal person?
In 100-mile races, you run through the night because there really isn't a big sleep period. I mean, you can sleep if you want. In this race, I don't plan on it. So a lot of the race will be straight through the night. So it's good to not only mimic what it's like to run in the dark, but also to just be as tired as possible and sleep deprived, because in the middle of the race, I'm not going to have any sleep in me. So if my training is running when I'm on no sleep, then that could kind of mimic it in a race. And also just putting yourself in an 100-mile race, anything that could go wrong usually does. That's what they say. So might as well prepare for it. I mean, I've had a very good training block, but that doesn't mean there's been disasters in it. I mean, I fell in the middle of a lake on one of the coldest mornings. I fell off a bridge while I was running, and I had like 8 miles to get out of the woods, and it was just freezing cold in the middle of the woods. I had to like take off my clothes and stuff. So like, I've been able to put myself in very tough situations to get ready for the race. It's the best I've ever trained. It's the most dedicated I've ever been. It's the most I've ever been on the road as well. I mean, me and you have been traveling like crazy. So to work this into the travel schedule, I just feel like it all is going to help the race.
So how do we've talked a lot about how your training and training in such a hardcore way has informed your stand-up and just informed you as a person. Can you speak to that?
How's it
just like made you a stronger person to like put yourself through something so physical?
Well, I mean, in terms of like being a better person, me and my friends, I have a group called the Dirt Runners, the Devil Ultra Running Team. We're a team of 4 guys in New Jersey. And we often talk about how, because we run in the morning. So like the other day, me and Brad, we did 15 miles. Well, me and you did almost sold out a theater in New Jersey. And then we went home, and I was up 3 hours later to go run with Brad, who, funny enough, was in the audience of the show. But we talk about how, like, we finished our run at 9:30. We had run 15 miles already, and we were like, how crazy that most people are waking up, and we already did our work for the day. So it's like, when I start my day like that and I do the hardest thing first, anything that happens the rest of the day, I'm better suited to handle because I already went through my hardest part of the day. So whatever life decides to throw at me, good. I already went through the hard shit this morning, so bring it on. It's just a way for me to better prepare myself for the day in life. Like every race that I finish, every ultra marathon, I don't really feel like life could hit me too hard afterwards because I've already put myself through the hardest shit that I personally can put myself through.
We touched on this on the last episode you were on, but you lost 190 pounds. You used to be very overweight. Most people, our friend Michael opened for us in New Jersey, and when you were on stage, you were talking about, he said one day you just decided, I'm going to do this. I'm going to lose this weight. And he was like, all right. And you did it. I mean, what was that moment for you that I think intrigues so many people where you decided to change your life?
It's never one moment. It's always a series of moments until you eventually decide that you've had enough. Michael Terry, who's a comedian in New York. He saw me at my worst. He was on a tour with me where I was pretty much at my heaviest. And there was one day we were in Atlanta, and there was a CVS across the street down a hill, and we set out to walk to it, and within like a couple it was hot out. I was 350 pounds. I just turned around and went back to the hotel. I said, there's no physical way I could walk to that place. So like that was one of those situations that stands out. I had a fatty liver at 23. I think we touched on that a doctor had told me that. So like you have that. You have the not being able to walk places. I had taken shoelaces out of my shoes because I couldn't bend down to tie them anymore. I was getting attacked by my jeans on a daily basis. It looks like my stomach went to war with a piece of metal. I mean, it looks like I got into a gang fight and they only stabbed my stomach. It's terrible. So it's just shit that adds up over time. I mean, some people are lucky enough to have one situation. I think I was unlucky enough to have a multitude. Or maybe that's everyone. I think you need a few dominoes to fall to kind of switch it all up.
What's your biggest fear in running this 100-mile race?
You know what? I don't have a fear for it. I'll die out there. It doesn't matter. I've put in too much work into this race to not finish it. So I'll run 100 miles or I'll die in the woods of New Jersey. I don't give a shit.
I thought we were planning a wedding, Dan.
You know what? That'll save us $40,000 as well, that death.
I don't really think
Actually,
so.
I wonder what the cost of a funeral is versus a wedding. I would like to compare those numbers because both seem costly.
I think you'll be fine. You run 70 miles a week. I'm not too concerned. I feel like a lot of people that are training for this race are doing 30, 40, 50 tops. I mean, you're consistently at 70 to 80 miles per week with a significant amount of elevation. It's absolutely insane what you're doing. You're a crazy person in the best way possible. I'm a crazy person not in the best way possible. I'm emotionally unstable.
Yes.
You're crazy in the sense that
You're an ultra crier. You run ultra marathons with your tears.
And it's not productive at all.
The amount of times Natalie is about to Uber to her podcast and then has a breakdown, so I need to drive her just to make sure she's okay.
I just like your company.
It starts to feel like that. I'm an emotional Uber driver. If I'm behind the wheel, it's because something went wrong.
That's not true. I do have a car.
I know, you don't drive it anymore.
Well, it's for everyone's safety.
I'm really helping out the population of Jersey City. Unparked cars are thanking me everywhere.
I crashed into a parked car. So since you were last on, you proposed, we got engaged.
Is that what happened? We got engaged. We weren't engaged during the first episode.
We were not. Do
you want to run down how the engagement went?
Me?
Yeah.
It was your idea.
It's your ring. Your podcast, your ring.
Well, what happened was it was my birthday.
Yes, I'm a hack.
December 17th, 2022.
Let it be known, I could not forget Natalie's birthday because there was a point of our relationship. My phone broke, and she was kind enough to surprise me with a new phone as a gift. But the password of the new phone she got was her birthday, which felt like both a test and a gift at the same time.
Brilliant on my part. Listen, I made my password your birthday too. Now everyone knows our phone passwords. I don't like that.
You're right. They do. I think they don't have our phones.
Anyway, brilliant gift, I have to say. Get your partner a gift. Say I set the phone up for you, made your password. Don't worry about it. It's my birthday. If you
There's
don't know
probably
it,
spyware on it too.
it's good to go. It doesn't have that spyware. It's my birthday, December 17th. I put my album out that day. Shout out if you loved it. #1 on iTunes. What a great day.
Yes.
It's my birthday. We were in this, for my birthday, we went upstate to Woodstock, and we stayed in this little cabin, and Dan got us a tour of Woodstock Animal Sanctuary, where I'd always wanted to go. I really love animals.
Yes, we had a private tour of the animal sanctuary.
Me, Dan, and a little vegan lady.
And a bunch of pigs. That was both me and Natalie's exes.
And I feel like, and also that there were some white rabbits with demon eyes. But
So it's rabbits there? Oh, there were rabbits. They had
Yeah.
a new rabbit cage, and they had to put spikes on strings over the rabbit cage because the birds kept trying to eat the rabbits. When you run an animal sanctuary, though, how tough, because you can't get mad at the bird for trying to eat the rabbit because the bird's got to eat and the bird's still an animal.
yeah, the bird's not in the sanctuary, though.
You have to love everyone. No, it's
I
an
guess
outsider.
you do have to love everyone.
We saw a woman nurse a chicken back to health.
Well,
Remember, she was cradling it. She was
yeah, but
letting
she had a bottle.
She was breastfeeding the chicken.
She had a bottle for sure.
She had her nipple in the chicken's mouth.
Anyway, I was freezing, frigid. There was snow outside, but I was still delayed because I used to work on a sheep farm, and I was so excited to see all the animals. So I kept putting my hand in Dan's pocket, and that's actually where he was hiding the ring.
Yes, I had your ring in my pocket, and you kept trying to put your fucking hand in there, so I kept having to slap it out. Then by the end of the tour, you were like, why won't you let me put your hand in your pocket? It's like, because I'm trying to propose. And then I proposed.
It was very sweet.
Yep. Right next to the pigs and the horse. No, it was in a
was
gazebo,
a nice gazebo.
overlooking some nice natural terrain, some water. Was a good time. And then we enjoyed ourselves in Woodstock. It's nice up there.
It is. It's a beautiful.
It's like the festival never ended. A lot of hippies.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the festival got way more expensive, but
Yeah, we got expensive chocolate up there.
yeah, this guy was hand painting it himself.
He hand painted his own chocolates and we purchased them.
I think that was a truly perfect day. Couldn't have been better. Couldn't have been more thoughtful. And
You know who could have been more thoughtful? The Woodstock Animal Sanctuary.
Hi.
I had to become a donor to get the private tour. So I had to make a donation to the foundation, and doing that gets you a tour of the venue. So I proposed. They know I'm proposing. They were in on it. It was communicated. After I proposed to you, and it says yes, it's all nice, fun and games, I get a handwritten letter in the mail from the Woodstock Animal Sanctuary. And I'm thinking, how nice that they're sending me a handwritten letter to say, congrats, I'm glad the proposal went well. And it was just a letter that said, Mr. LaMorte, we would love some more money.
Here's my problem with that. If they had just written you a letter saying congrats, you probably would have then given them money the next letter. These people, they don't invest in time. You know what I mean?
I don't think there was a situation where they were getting any more money from me.
But you see what I'm saying.
I do see, yeah, if they had been like, hey, congrats on the proposal.
You got to build up relationships. You can't just expect
can't
things. They
just
were great.
ask.
They are great people, though. And if you have the money to go donate to them or to go check
They
out
have
the place.
multiple animals who escaped from butchers and stuff, and they know the animals. The animal knows they're about to be killed, so they escape like a prisoner.
Dan and I were both in relationships where we were forced. We had meat shoved down our throat after we were vegetarians.
That was a weird way to
It
put
was
it.
an exaggeration.
Yeah. I've never had meat shoved, forced down my throat.
Well, so we became vegetarians after seeing all these animals.
Yeah.
Until we went to Buc-ee's. We had a little bit of brisket.
It's hard to just say what a lot of the people listening may not know. Buc-ee's, you just jumped stories, states. Buc-ee's is a convenience/gas station in Texas that has a nice brisket sandwich. To update the people, they have brisket, fudge, shirts about guns and Jesus, pretty much everything one could need in a store.
Makes you think that life is much more simple when you see that many shirts about guns and Jesus.
Really? To me, that seems complicated.
Really?
How do you maintain a relationship with a gun and Jesus?
To me, I thought all these people have to think about is loving Jesus and loving guns. Go home, sleep in your little fucking ranch, wake up and have a day with your chickens.
One time I saw someone post on Twitter that if Jesus had had a gun, he never would have been crucified. Doesn't make sense to me. I think he just would have been shot.
I'm lost here.
Exactly. Her point was wrong. She was saying that if Jesus has had a gun, he wouldn't have died. She was arguing for guns, that guns are good. Her point was Jesus never would have been crucified.
No, I don't agree with that.
Absolutely. He would have been shot. They would have killed him quicker.
We've
You're really not improving with this at all.
no, I don't know. It's so edgy in so many ways. It's edgy on the Jesus front, edgy on the gun front.
Jesus had a good front.
And
good
I
abs.
honestly, the whole Jesus story, I don't know very well. Just kidding.
You don't know it very well. There is a popular book.
We read the Bible in 11th grade
What?
in English class, but we read it as a, quote, piece of literature. We had to read it from not a religious standpoint. That's how hippie my school was.
You and those hippie schools.
Yeah.
I read it in the type of place where it was very real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was jealous of that because you have community there. There's no community in analyzing the Bible. There's a lot of community in embodying it.
This is a whole different conversation. What are we on, Russell Brand's podcast?
Okay, anyway. So being autistic.
Yeah, you're switching up topics like my Aspergery ass. Sorry, autistic. Can't use my word anymore.
I feel like a lot of people
don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone called it a shtick on Instagram the other day. They said Dan LaMorte's a comedian with an autistic shtick. I was like, I wish it was a shtick. It's not. It's just who I am. What are you trying to get out of me here?
Well, I don't know.
Lead me to the water.
Okay, good. I feel like so you were diagnosed with autism later in your life.
Yes.
What age were you?
It was right around the time of the car accidents, so 23, 24.
And what led you to seeking that diagnosis?
I had always been something. That's what the misconception is people go, oh, everyone's autistic now. And it's like, well, no, we were always something. There was other labels on it. People just didn't understand me. I mean, I was told I had bipolar 2 for the majority of my life, which made very little sense to me because there was never any manic highs or lows.
That's me.
That's you, yeah. You thrive in mania. Yeah, I don't know how else to put it, but for me, I'm very even keeled. I just feel different, and I always knew that my brain was slightly different, and that I saw things differently and observed things differently and felt things very deeply. I always struggled to make friends, very close friends. There was always something there, and that's how they labeled it, because when you label something bipolar 2, you could give a kid a pill, and that's it. Because that's something with medication. I mean, with something like Asperger's or something that's neurodivergent, you don't necessarily need a medication as much as you need like a talk therapy or a psychotherapy like that. So that's kind of what led me to it, is when I started to lose the weight, I started to feel more like myself, and myself wasn't someone who was bipolar. It wasn't someone who needed to take these medications, because truthfully, I didn't see the need to, because I never identified with what they said that I was. They had said that to me because my diagnosis came when I was arrested for selling weed in high school. I kind of had like a little mental break after, where I was pretty depressed. So they sent me to a mental hospital. And there they had just told me I was bipolar 2 and sort of forced me to take pills for like a week straight. And then that maintained after that, because I got put in a program to kind of like help with school and stuff. But like, you've seen my report cards when we were going through them recently. I was very clearly a kid looking for help. Like, my teachers all had things about me being humorous, but also being disruptive in class. And to me, that makes complete sense, because I was always the class clown, even though I had no friends, because I didn't understand emotions. I didn't understand reading people. I didn't know how people felt. But laughter is such an outward emotion that if I made people laugh, I knew what they were feeling. You can't mistake a laugh. I mean, someone's having a good time, they're laughing. So to me, that's how I acted out, because it was the only emotion that was so clear to see. And for me, it was nice to understand how someone was feeling.
You say this, if you've met one autistic person, you've met one autistic person. What does that mean?
I think because the neurodivergency spectrum has just increased tenfold. I mean, especially taking something like Asperger's and putting it under the autism umbrella. It's all one spectrum now, which some agree with, some disagree with. But there's autism, people think there's a look to it, which is so, I mean, obviously that's a big joke of mine on stage when people say I don't look autistic, but that is offensive, because that's putting down a certain group of low-functioning people, and even that is no longer a good term, high-functioning versus low-functioning. So even words get changed so much, it's hard. But yeah, it's a saying that autistic people have to kind of remind people to be kind to everyone, and don't, just because you know one person, like someone who meets me, I tell people I have the type of autism where people meet me and they go, oh, maybe I'm autistic too, because I seem relatively normal, I guess. It's just about understanding that everyone is different in this, and that it is something that they have such a new grasp on. No one really knows. I mean, I guess they know, but it's still new. I mean,
I feel that you do a really good job of, I feel that a lot of people don't realize some of the things that you struggle with internally because of the fact that you're a performer, the fact that you do such a good job of articulating it and making jokes about it. But there is an internal struggle that people don't necessarily see or recognize in experiencing life in a way that's different from other people. Is there something that like you wish you could say to your younger self or other people experiencing this that feel like they're alone in that?
It's something I still struggle with, is that just because I feel something doesn't mean I'm able to express it, and just because I'm expressing something doesn't mean that's how I feel. And learning that balance is really hard, because my facial expressions don't always match what I'm internally feeling. Like, I've spent enough years as a stand-up comedian, I mean, almost a decade now, to where you get roasted. I'm okay with getting roasted. It doesn't bother me. But my face never doesn't react as if I'm actually in pain, because people are saying mean things to me. So my face reacts like people are saying mean things to me. Internally, I'm okay with it. But my face always reacts in that way. So people will think I'm angry when I'm not. People think I'm upset when I'm not. Then there's the whole thing of like, I feel so much empathy for so many people. There's this stigma that autistic people are less empathetic, when on the flip side, we're actually incredibly empathetic. We feel very hard, but we can't always express it. Like, I love my parents in such a deep way, but I've never been able to comfortably hug them. I don't like hugging my parents. I don't like expressing the love with them. They know that I love them, and I know that they love me, and that's okay with me. When I know that I trust someone, I don't need to touch them. I don't need to express, like, that's one thing that's really hard too, when you know that you want these people to know what you feel about them, but you can't always express it. And even when you try your hardest, you can't. Like, the most I could give is like a one-armed hug. You know, I don't.
Unless it's my dad, he'll squeeze the shit out of you.
Yeah, some people don't really let you get away with it, and then I'll just awkwardly just be there it's terrible. But yeah, I don't know. I get very upset when people don't believe me. That's something that I hear a lot, and people think that I'm just doing it to do it. But if you've been something your whole life, and you just start to get a grasp on what it is, why wouldn't you want to dig deeper and explore it more? And also, it's like, I'm fucking 28 years old. Like, I'm still in the age where I'm going to be learning shit about myself. So, like, who are you to say this is what I am and what I'm not? And yeah, who cares if there's more autistic people now than there were 20 years ago? That's what happens when society advances. Like, we didn't have, like, no one ran a 4-minute mile until one guy went out and ran a 4-minute mile, Roger Bannister. Once he did that, in the coming weeks, a bunch of people ran 4-minute miles. That's just the way the world works. When someone discovers something or something changes, an influx goes in that area. I mean, if we don't have a good understanding of mental health, and then the understanding gets better, wouldn't we want to celebrate that instead of putting down the people who are now learning what they are?
I definitely see in getting to know in knowing you how sensitive and empathetic of a person you are, and I also see how um, you're empathetic to humans, but also to animals. Like my mom immediately gave you a bunch of Temple Grandin books.
Yeah.
But you are very sensitive to animals. Like we've had sick animals around us, and I've almost treated you as Eliza Doolittle. I feel like you can talk to them.
I do. Me and animals get along very well. I feel, I don't know.
Not Eliza Doolittle. What's the Eliza Thornberry?
Eliza. Yeah, I was going to say.
Doolittle, no.
I went with it. I didn't know what it was.
You got to stop. You got to tell me these things, Dan.
Well, it's like Norm Macdonald had a great joke where he was like, do you ever just lie about things that you don't need to lie about? Where someone is just like, hey, do you see that movie? And he goes, yeah, I saw it. And he just sits there. He's like, why did I tell them I saw the movie? I didn't see the movie. And it's just one of those things where like, yeah, why do I don't know.
What was the joke of it?
I don't know. Norm Macdonald his delivery is the joke. You can't do a Norm delivery.
I feel like, yeah, I lie all the time, but it's mostly like that. But it's mostly because I haven't seen many movies. I try to be more honest now, and I wind up embarrassing myself constantly. But if that was like a correction, because I was wrong there. I feel like Eliza the Thornberry is one of the best, most underrated cartoons of all time.
Is that the one with the dad with the big nose?
It's the one with the talking chimp.
But the dad had a big nose.
I don't remember the dad. I remember.
And the orange mustache.
I think so.
You saw a talking chimp. I saw a dude with a big nose. That's how the brain goes. I do remember they had like an RV.
A lot of your material about autism also, it kills me like in a good way. A lot of it's about the sensory elements of being autistic, how you're more sensitive to different tastes, different foods, to stimming and textures, and also how that influences how you feel in the bedroom and things about sex and how you're particular. I think that it's hilarious the way that you've been able to take this sensitivity and turn it into a superpower in your act.
Oh, thank you. That seems more like a compliment than a question, and I accept it graciously. But yeah, I get a very big kick out of bringing my sense of humor, which is dark and dirty and sexual at points, and also very observant and silly in other points. I mean, I think I like to cover a wide range, and just it's that thing, right, where like you met one. That's what I try to do. I try to like go up there and be like, listen, I'm like anybody else. There is no difference. If anything, it is a superpower because you could observe and you could feel things differently. But at the same time, like being a comic and being on the spectrum, it's very nice for me because when a room full of people laughs, that is them understanding. So it's like, how different are we actually if my life could be broken down into terms to make a stranger who's not going through what I'm going through laugh? Like we must be closer and more similar than we give ourselves credit for.
We've been going on the road a lot. We've been traveling. We've been relating to people everywhere. We've been in Chicago, Rosemont, Charlottesville, Plano, Texas,
Philly,
Virginia, Philly, DC. What are some of your favorite? What was your favorite and least favorite trip that we've taken in the last few months?
What? Favorite and least favorite?
All right, give me one.
My favorite trip. I mean, what shows were the most? I mean, New Jersey this weekend was a lot of fun. And that wasn't a trip because we stayed close to home, but we felt like fucking rock stars, man. The security team that we had, the way they treated us from the second we showed up to when we left, they had earpieces in. They made us feel like a fucking president. I don't know. That was really cool. Just the amount of people who came out, old teachers, old coaches. It was really overwhelming, old friends. That to me was the best show. Philly was a lot of fun. I obviously love that room. I loved it so much I wanted to do an album there. I haven't disliked any of the trips. I don't know. Norfolk, Virginia, I don't foresee myself going back to. I'm sorry if anyone who produced that show. Actually, no. If you're the guys who owned the venue who put on that show, you should be ashamed of yourselves. You're pieces of shit. Outside of that, the comic in Norfolk was a nice guy. But no, I won't go back to Norfolk, Virginia.
I'd say that was maybe the one place where we weren't treated well by the venue.
No, the owner of the venue should never be bringing prostitutes up into the green room.
Well, he wasn't.
I just gave up so much of his information.
No, he just wasn't very nice. And then at the end, we're standing there, and he goes, "Well, I'm autistic too."
Yes, he made fun of me for being autistic, and I wanted to be like, do you want me to go downstairs and tell your wife that you have a hooker up here?
The Granby Theater. No,
No, you put up the name. At least I was leaving the name anonymous.
I'll bleep it out.
Yeah, we'll bleep out Granby.
But
yeah, Virginia, I did not lie. That Charlottesville, Virginia, I liked a bit. That venue was really cool. What I've learned is the audiences are never what I mind. It's usually on how we get treated as a venue. And a lot of times people could think performers are prima donnas and like, oh, you really need this, this, and this. And it's like, we're not like that. But at the same time, if you're going to perform, you don't want 15 random people in your green room. The green room should not be an open invite access to just throw a party like it's a fucking frat house. Like, that's the one thing that needs to stop. I think if you're touring with your friends, you can make a green room like a party aspect. But if performers are coming into your venue, there's no reason to have that there waiting for them with people they don't know, which is, and again, for me, I'm very uncomfortable around people I don't know. It takes a lot for me. I need to read people's energy. And if the energy is misread, then I'm not going to be comfortable. And the energy in that room was like a metal detector just going off.
Well, I think it's not a lot to ask for. A lot of comedians want space to prepare before they go on stage. They want to look over their notes. I definitely need space I don't want a lot of company before I do a long set, and I don't think that's a lot to ask.
I agree.
It was a crazy drive. I mean, we drive so much. We need to get one of those cars that you deck out, make beautiful. A tour bus.
Okay, I was gonna say when you said one of those cars that you decorate, I was like, give me more. You're meaning a tour bus. You want your face on this? If you got a tour bus,
no, I don't want my
face
on the side. Would you?
What would you put on the side? A nude?
Picture of Rory. Why a nude?
I don't know.
A nude of you. No.
Each side. The side I sleep on.
I would want to bleep out your penis with my head. Going like this.
Your head on mine. Okay, we'll talk to our tour bus guy. I'll just add that in. Hi, I'd like one wedding and a tour bus, please.
I think one of my favorite moments is we're in New Jersey. The New Jersey show was so great because it was a theater, and also both of our families met before that. You know, my mom had met your family, but my dad and stepmom also came, and we all had dinner together. And we had this great dinner before, and we did the sneaky thing of secretly paying the bill.
Yeah, we paid for our parents for the first time.
We paid for our parents.
They were shocked.
They're just the waiter was so shocked by the tip, he just started offering everyone warm Zambuca.
Yes, that's the first time where I've ever left the tip where the waiter starts giving out free alcohol. I felt kind of cool about that. We don't drink, so it was a way. I was like,
it was a waste.
Can you go to the kitchen and roll me a joint for this tip?
I don't know why alcohol is just, I mean, weed is just so much more stigmatized than alcohol.
The smell.
You say that, but it's, I guess.
Yeah, you could drink without anyone knowing. I mean, you hide it and bring it to work. We've all done it, right? Eh? No? Okay. It's easy to hide. You can't just hide the smell of weed as easy.
Yeah.
But our parents met and nobody killed each other.
No, they all loved each other. It was fantastic.
Went well. Our dads are buddy-buddy. They're going to probably start texting each other.
It was incredible. And John, his camera, he took these photos of the crowd where we got to see our families laughing, and that was lovely. So I enjoyed that.
So you're saying your favorite show is also New Jersey? I
like the New Jersey show.
My grandparents were in the crowd. How did it feel talking about your vagina in front of them?
Well, I did have to curate my set a bit.
Yeah.
I felt like I don't know if it was up there with my favorite shows, but I didn't have like the freedom that I would have if no one I knew was in the audience. I think maybe like 10 minutes into my set, just kind of go like fuck it. But there were definitely things that I took out of my set that I wouldn't have, that I might have said because they were just a bit overly sexual. Even though I still talked about butt plugs a ton.
Yeah. I felt very uncomfortable in that set too. Not yours, mine. Just
You
performing
did?
for people you know is scary.
It is scary, yeah.
And also because, like we had talked about, I mean, my diagnosis was very late in life. So in high school, no one knew me as someone with Asperger's or autism. I was just always a little bit quirky and weird. So, like, for these people to come out and see me, it's kind of like a reintroduction of who you are. And that for, like, there was family, friends, coaches, teachers, kids I went to school with, like, to be like, hey, this is who I am. Like, and there's that fear of, like, are they going to accept it? Are they going to believe it? And it's weird to talk because being in New Jersey, man, like, you still talk to my grandparents or, like, aunts, uncles. Like, they'll be like, what is that? That's not a real thing. It doesn't exist.
Another thing, I mean, that's not easy to deal with at all. Do you feel like your comedy has been a way to communicate that to them and share that with them?
It has. Where on the flip side, I also understand why it doesn't, why some people think it looks bad, because, like, I was someone who had been doing stand-up for years and then only over the course of, like, the last 4 years started talking about it. But that's, I knew before, and then, like, I slowly started to talk about it. But, like, there are people who think I did it just to get, like, an angle. But why would I have needed that? I had lost 190 pounds. I run races that no other comedian could even come close to. Why would I need another angle? I was already good at what I was doing. I'd already had some amount of success. So, like, why would I need... I'm just trying to communicate. Stand-up is always trying to best communicate who you are, I think. And then who you are and how you view the world around you. So why wouldn't I communicate who I am? Like, the comic at 19 is not going to be the same comic at 28. It's crazy to even assume that.
What do you think the best advice is you've ever received?
It changes all the time, right? I mean, I love quotes. I'm always...
You're very good at advice.
Do you want advice in terms of this? It's like, well, I mean, who cares what anyone else thinks? I mean, I guess that's not even advice. It's just true. Why does it matter? I should convince myself that. I always like the advice that I give you, which is just the simplest way to look at it, is like when things go bad or when things go south or when they're not going great, or like, basically this advice comes from Ram Dass, Ram Dass is, one of my favorite people to have ever existed. I never met his soul on this plane. I hope to one day cross paths with him somewhere, but he talked about how when he went to India and he felt like he never claimed to be enlightened, but he had met his guru and he started to really see things differently, and he felt really spiritually high. And then he came back to America and it was just a crash. He was back to this. He was away from the spirituality and he just felt beat up. He was like, I'm above these people. They're not getting me. What am I supposed to? And then one of his gurus just told him simply, they're like, you're in class. Why don't you try taking the curriculum? And it's just something as simple as that. It's like, you're here, live it, Why fight against it? You drown if you fight against the current. Just fucking swim with it and you'll be fine. To me, that's where I go. Like, if I feel life taking me in a direction, it's taking me there for a reason. When I felt an inkling to run further, I ran further and I learned lessons. When I felt an attraction to meditation, I jumped into it and I saw what it did for my life. I mean, when I wanted to lose weight, I jumped all into it. I mean, and I felt the pull to do it. If something is pulling you in a direction, there's only so long you could choose to ignore it before life keeps trying to correct the path for you. There's a reason when I was at my heaviest, I almost died twice in car accidents. It was like life was trying to tell me, like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Wake up. Like, you need to make a change. Things are not going well around you. And then when you're sitting in a hospital after 2 car accidents and you have a fatty liver and you're 23 years old, you could say, you know what? Everything is crashing down around me. There's a reason why it's crashing. I should open my eyes and adjust. And I think people get so lost in their everyday life that they miss the signs that maybe they're on the wrong path or maybe they're on the right path. There's signs for both. It's just a matter of looking for it. And it's not even in a spiritual hippy-dippy way. I mean, I think everything I do is kind of spiritual hippy-dippy, but at the core of it, You'll know when you're feeling, am I doing something right or wrong? You know it in the core of it. I don't know. That's not advice. I'm sorry.
No, that is advice, 100%.
My best advice is listen to Ram Dass. I mean, the guy's got a million fucking quotes. Like, I could go on and on and on with him. You know, if you don't have room, and don't make friends with what's the one that don't make friends with an elephant trainer if you don't have room for an elephant in your living room. That's incredible advice. You know,
What does that mean to you?
don't let shit in your life if you ain't got room for it. You control what comes into your life. So if you make friends with an elephant trainer, you better expect an elephant to be in your living room because you made friends with him. That's what that means. Like, you get what you ask for. Manicure the life that you want. You put the people around you that you want to put around you. Surround yourself with love, compassion, and dedication, and hard workers. The more hard workers you put around you, the better you'll become. The easiest way to enlightenment is through spending time with enlightened people. Whatever that means for you, whatever enlightenment is to you. But wherever you want to go, hang out with the people who are there. Don't hang out with the people who don't understand it. Like for me, comics shit on me all the time for running 100 miles. But guess what? When I'm with my ultra running friends, we all run 100 miles. Most of us are training for an 100 miler or a 200 miler or something crazier than that. It's just a matter of reshaping. Like, those guys can't understand comedy. They're like, I don't know how you get on stage every night. Where comics are like, I don't get how you run 100 miles every night. And it's like, if you just surround yourself with both people, you could do it all.
I want to touch, that was all beautifully said. I would love to touch on, before we pull an oracle card, this week I had the pleasure of coming with you to the Tamron Hall show with your grandmother.
Shout out Tam Fam.
Your dad and your cousin. So your grandma has a leaderboard and she ranks the grandchildren on it. This has gone absolutely viral. Yeah. The video of you showing your grandma your 2 new tattoos and your grandma nanny changing the ranking. I love this because of the way that, as someone that I have one cousin that I haven't seen in years and no siblings, and I know you don't have siblings, but you have a lot of cousins, and I feel so grateful to be part of your family, and I love to see the way the leaderboard has brought your family even closer together. How does it feel, you brought your grandma in her late 80s onto national television. Your grandma has a bigger TV credit than I do. I mean, she is a superstar. How does that feel?
It feels the way you want something to feel, I think, where you could kind of remove yourself and your ego from it. And you're like, this is something I was able to do for my grandmother, for my family. I was able to sit there on the set and not hog the air. As a comic, I saw the opportunities to jump in for jokes, and I kind of bit my tongue, and I looked over, and I saw my grandma smile and take in the crowd and just be blown away by it all. It's one of those situations that you're in, and you're like, man, not only will she never forget this, my family will never forget this. This will never, until my family, all of us are gone, this will be talked about forever, you know. And it's funny because it's this thing, right, where she ranks the grandchildren, she moves us from 1 to 10. A lot of people think it's this savage thing. People take it the wrong way, but guess what? My cousins talk more than ever. My grandmother gets calls from us more than ever. We're the closest fucking family that I know, and that's the only way you could get away with something like this. And I know she loved it. I mean, I have a missed call from her today, so I'm sure I'll be moved down the board because I haven't answered the call back. But it was amazing. She got a standing ovation. I wheeled her out there on the wheelchair. She wasn't going to be in a wheelchair. She fell in the studio before the appearance and had to go in a wheelchair.
That was stressful.
We got there at noon, didn't tape until like 4 o'clock. Hillary Clinton was on the show before us, so the Secret Service was all there because they taped one live and then one to air at a later date. This one is airing March 13th, 18th? 13th. March 13th, and we had taped it 2 weeks prior. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just a good feeling, you know? It's like, because you're not doing something just for you. so much of stand-up, I mean, all of stand-up is self-centered, self-pleasing, self-serving, because we are the center of attention. So, like, if you could bring your grandma out there and kind of be the hype man for her and lead her to it and kind of just see, I mean, it's probably something she never dreamed she would do. She's never seen me live either. She's never seen me perform. Other grandparents come to my shows. She's a born-again Christian. She has a certain sensibility to what she likes to hear and what she doesn't like to hear. So to me, that was kind of the best I could have given her.
What do you think it is about this video that, or this concept that has gone so viral? Do you think it is that other people secretly do like think about favorites in their family and wish they could rank each other? Or do you think they think it's crazy that your grandma is ranking people? Like, what is it about this concept? Like, you were on, the front page of the New York Post. Like, there have been so many articles, so many viral videos. What do you think it is? Good Morning Chicago. What do you think it is about this concept that is really speaking to people?
I think it's a series of things. It's family. Family is always something interesting. Whether you have one or not, you think about family. If you have a family, you think about your family. If you don't have a family, you think about the family you didn't have, as dark as that is. So there's that family aspect. There's the grandmother aspect, who doesn't love a funny grandma. And Nanny's funny. She's cold. She's cutting. She's loving. She's everything. I mean, she's the real deal. She calls you on your shit. She calls you on your success. She tells you she's proud. She tells you if she's not proud. That's what you need. You don't need someone to tell you. You need someone to tell you the truth, and that's what she does. So there's that. There's the honesty aspect. There's the family aspect. And then there's the aspect that when people see this in the comments, what do they start doing? They start tagging their cousins. Who's the favorite? Who's the favorite niece? Who's the favorite, whatever. It starts to snowball into their rankings, because at the end of the day, everyone knows who their grandma's favorite is, or one of their favorites. The grandma has more pictures on the fridge of one grandchild than any other. That's how this started. Jana had more pictures than anyone else, so we knew she was the favorite. So Nanny said, yes, she's the favorite. Ariana had the least amount of pictures, so we said she's the least favorite. And Nanny said, yes, she is my least favorite. So then we knew from 2 to 9 there was an opening. Who was who? So we physically made a board to see, and it was a joke. So that's what appeals to people. I think the people it appeals to, they understand it's a joke. They understand it's about family, and they see the love that's at the core of it, because it's a grandma having a good time. Like, anyone who takes her serious or takes it all serious, it's their own shit that they're going through.
Do you actually care about your ranking?
I don't care about my ranking in the slightest. I care about my family. I care about that I'm putting in the right amount of time, that I'm calling, that I'm showing up. The more we go on the road, the more things change in terms of following and success. It is harder to be close to home. It's harder to put in the same amount of time. It's just not plausible. You have cousins moving back home that get to spend more time, and there's a lot of days where I really feel bad, because I'm a classic old school Italian guy. My family's everything. But this helps me keep grounded to that even when I'm far away on the road or not home or not spending time there, like, we have this. We'll always have the show, the videos, the newspapers. Like, this is something the family will never forget. And even if I'm slacking in some ways, this is a way that I get to be like, hey, this is how I gave back in the way that I could. I gave her some memories at the very least. And sure, it was everyone, but whose platform got her there?
Yours, baby.
Yeah, that's right, cousins.
Have you ever considered making a board for your grandparents on the other side?
No, because I'm number one, so I already know. I'm Bobble and Poppy's favorite. They've said that, so I don't need a board. I fully believe it.
I do like to pull an oracle card.
Put some good energy into this.
I remember...
It's been a stressful morning so far. The audience should know. Natalie's had a stressful morning. Her nerves and anxieties have been a little high. So let's see if she pulls a positive card or a negative. It could go either way. Shuffle away, dealer.
I did beat you in blackjack. I stayed in for longer.
Yeah, I'm not one of the autistics who count cards.
You know what you did do, which I thought was funny? You out loud said that you wish we had the other dealer because you liked his tie better.
No. What you misunderstood there was I was trying to roast the other dealer.
Yeah.
So I had to bring him up in conversation. So that's how I brought him up. And I was going to... Basically, the joke I was going to make was that he looked like a magician who got stuck in the middle of time traveling and had no idea what year he was in because his tie was all off. His vest was undone by like a button. He just looked like the world's worst magician.
And he most certainly was.
And how it came out was that I told the one guy I wished that he wasn't our dealer.
Under a spell with hard eyes.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
That's funny. My walkout song is I put a spell on you when I do shows. To our audio listeners, Natalie is opening the book. She is looking to see what the card means.
And she is now reading it.
She's now reading it.
Under a spell. There is the most beautiful fog you will ever see showering over you. It may feel super dreamy and magical. It probably is. You are in love with an idea. You are in love with what you see. You are completely under a spell. This can be a nice feeling, but if things feel a little funny, like there is something that's not right, you might need to be shaken out of it. You can't think straight when hearts and stars are all you see. It could put a filter on something that's not a good choice for you and make it seem like the best choice. I know it's hard to leave a smell that makes you feel in love, but if you can snap out of it and still feel amazing, then that means it's true. If you snap out of it and feel like someone dropped you on the cold floor, well, then it was just a spell.
Good, you got the breakup card.
Now, I don't think that's a breakup card. Is that a breakup card?
Slightly.
I don't think so.
It's misleading because it's got the love spell.
It's got a nice...
But it's got a tongue-in-cheek.
And it says there's the most beautiful fog. This is what it says. If you're dropped on the head, it says you... I had said, Dan, we should play a game. We should play a couples game.
I've always thought our love is a beautiful fog.
I said we should play this couples game where we guess things, and you said no. The last episode, you didn't like the tarot card we pulled, and it made you upset. Of course, I was not going to pull a good one today. I don't think this one's all that bad. It says if you can snap out of it and still feel amazing, it means it's true.
Yeah.
I feel amazing.
I think we need to drop you on a cold floor to see if, is that what it said?
I would love to be. You like pushing me against cold surfaces, if we're being honest.
Well, once you told me you didn't like a cold surface and we're in the shower, I always push you against a cold surface.
You pull a card.
All right. The Eight of Tentacles. It's always nice dating someone who loves the cards.
Dating? We're getting married, bitch.
Yep. Does everyone always split it into 3 piles when they pick?
No, that's just a thing that I do. And 3's not even my number.
Yeah, it's a weird choice for someone with OCD.
Oh, you didn't even pick the middle.
Whoa, fire mother.
Let me see. Is that a 9? Fire mother. Woo! Okay.
I read this one. This is my card. Let me guess. Another bad one? Oh,
no,
boy,
I don't know.
The phoenix curls her many colors tenderly around her eggs. That's a tough start. Having survived a fiery death, she is reborn again and again. Her ability to give her love and her colors never leaves her. In fact, her ability to live through death and rebirth allows her to appreciate the things she loves even more deeply. She is a symbol to us that from death will always come life. The Fire Mother has the wisdom of knowing nothing truly belongs to her and that everything is temporary. She loves and cares for her eggs as if there is no tomorrow. If you have experienced difficulties in the past, it can become a habit to always be looking for the next tragedy or hurdle that might be put in your way, and before we know it, we are spending all of our time overcoming challenges. We also have the option to spend our time and energy giving affection and love to that which we feel dear, people, projects, ideas. You will never cause ill from giving love. I love my eggs. I have an egg tattooed on me.
So you...
That's a very good card.
Yeah. Good for
you. I
you.
feel like it's my story.
Good for you.
Death, rebirth, everything that happens for you, not to you.
So you get a nice card, and I get the shitty under a spell card.
One of us was in a good mood this morning, and it was the Fire Mother. Take that, From now on, you'll be calling me mommy. Fire, mommy. You feel that? Just got hot in here from my eggs.
You're right. I did lose all my eggs this week.
What?
Wouldn't that be a period? No.
You lose eggs when you have your period?
You lose one egg, right? You don't know.
Is that
You lose one egg.
Is that why when I
One
go
egg.
down there at this month, it tastes like an omelet?
You lose one egg when you have your period. That's why when you're older, there's none left.
I'm going to need to fact check that after this. You're a woman, so I'll give it to you. But just one? Every period, you lose one egg.
You're losing an egg.
And how you get what? You get your period, what, once a month?
You get your period once a month for...
So you lose a carton a year. A carton of eggs just gone.
More than that if you're me. I mean...
Biology's a farmer.
So, Dan, where are we going on the road next? We have so many tour dates, so many sheets to have period sex on.
Well, this Dreamy Fog, the Dreamy Fog Tour.
We're going to be in Arizona next weekend.
Arizona, March
This weekend.
16th through 19th.
That's delicious.
March
Phoenix.
28th
March
through April 1st, we're at Comics Mohegan Sun.
31st. 30th.
I might be there on the 29th.
No, I think we're going to change it to a Sunday. A Friday to Sunday instead of a Thursday to Saturday.
This is the...
Great. We're gonna be at Comics Roadhouse Mohegan Sun.
Then April, we got Charlotte, North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina.
We've got Detroit, Vancouver, Edmonton, Springfield,
Baltimore, Colorado, Denver.
Colorado, 500-person seat theater. And the day before, this crazy person's running some sort of 30-mile race.
40 miles for the Colorado Rockies, 9,000 feet of climbing.
At some point, I'm going to have to start running. I have to start running again this week.
I'll hold you to it.
I'll hold you.
Any other questions?
Well, Dan, where can people find you?
Next to you.
At Dan LaMorte.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And as always, you can find me at Natalie Cuomo.
Oh, and watch the Tamron Hall show. Tamron Hall show.
She was so generous to gift your family a gift certificate for all the cousins to go out to eat.
They gave my grandma an $1,000 dinner at Legacy, which is a seafood restaurant in Manhattan. And my grandma's got to pay a W-9 on it. She's got to pay taxes on the dinner. They made her fill out a W-9 right after they gave her the gift. Inside show business. Ain't nothing free in this world.
Nothing's free.
Even if it's from Tamron Hall.
She is very lovely, though.
Yeah.
That
Also sounds like a college cafeteria. Where'd you eat? Tamron Hall.
Tamron.
Tamron.
Tam.
The Tam fam.
Tom Bum.
Cute kid.
Adorable child. She's not a child. She brought her child.
Yeah. And who else was there? Oh, we met that actor guy, that other actor guy,
yeah.
and that third actor guy.
And you'll see them all on the show.
The guy, he's in the movie Creed, but not Michael Jordan. I don't know. Hillary Clinton was the big one. It's hard to... That's the first time we've shared a room with Hillary.
It's the first time you shared a room with Hillary.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I felt like we were on a good end, and then I really took us into a bad spot.
Well, thank you guys. And Dan, thank you so much for coming on. I know I ask you every week, and you always say, I am waiting for the perfect week, and you did. You waited for the week in the gorgeous, beautiful studio. So shout out to WTF Media. This is the most beautiful podcast studio, truly. So thank you guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye.